Hi and welcome back. I feel like it's been quite a while since I've been sitting here talking about skincare, and this one is an exciting one because it is what is new in face masks. And I'm going to start with a confession. I'm not a fan of face masks. I don't understand why, if you could buy a bottle of serum, you would use a serum drenched mask for such a short period of time and probably create a little bit of a when is this ever going to dissolve? This is just another sort of face wipe thing. They're wet, they're messy, when you could be using a serum and leaving it on your skin overnight. I understand you need it for emergencies. I am a fan of the little targeted under eye ones. I used them for years prepping for daytime TV. But what's new in masks is microneedling masks and finally the democratization of dry masks. And I'm going to talk through the two. Let's start with microneedling. I did a piece about eye products that work. I did a video about eye products that work probably about a year ago, and I talked about a company called Radara. This is Radara. It is quite a lot of money. I think they're about £165, and it is an intense course of microneedling eye masks. What you got was a hyaluronic acid serum, and I'm just going to open them up. Two little microneedling eye masks. And they would sit at roughly 0.3 millimeters. They were, in fact, I'll get one out and I'll show you. You can't, to be honest, you can't really feel the microneedles. You can feel them if you run your fingers across them, but when you put them on your skin, you really can't. And what you do, you would put them on like that, push, at which point you can feel the microneedles at roughly 0.3 mil go into the skin. And you would layer the serum under and then over afterwards. And so basically what that was a controlled form of microneedling. Very expensive, £165, but it was the first of its kind. And this is what happens with both of these. I'm going to tell you, this is what happens with these. A company invests in the technology, they whack up the price because they've got to make that money back, and then eventually the trademark comes off or somebody copies the technology, and then what happens is it filters down to the high street. So that was, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Radara were the first people to do a microneedling patch. 0.3 millimeters, tiny little plastic, probably not very good for the environment, needles sat on your skin, you put the serum on, simple hyaluronic acid, you could team it with any serum, but it came with its own serum, like that. And they targeted the areas which I suffer from, most women suffer from, which is those smile lines, those sort of crepey bits around the outside of the eye. That was then. This is now. I'm going to start with more microneedling wrinkle, crepey skin patches, and then I'm going to go on to spot patches because I think that's so exciting. So Radara was the start of the micro patch, microneedling revolution. What came next was super exciting because I remember being at the launch of the Vichy liftactive eye patches. They are microneedling eye patches. They come in at around £20. You'll often find them discounted at £15 though. And what they are is targeted, I'm going to drop some pictures here, targeted under eye microneedling patches. However, the 0.3, that's a third of a millimeter, microneedles are made of hyaluronic acid. So the actual microneedle that goes into the skin is delivering the active ingredient, which is incredibly clever. Now, still quite expensive, I admit, but imagine the technology that goes into that. So what you end up with is, instead of a liquid being kept on place with a gel, you end up with a solid gel form of hyaluronic acid that delivers slowly overnight while you sleep. I've used them. I think they're amazing. I'm going to drop in loads of pictures here. In fact, I gave some away as part of my Vichy liftactive hyaluronic acid range giveaway, and they went down brilliantly. So that's Vichy coming in at £20. The Radara's coming in at £165. Then what happened? Obviously, really clever companies thought, what else can we deliver in a microneedle? Bring on, and I'm so pleased to say these have finally hit the UK, bring on Killer Zit Patch. These are incredibly clever. Think about the two things that are probably most annoying. What we need is something to target the neck, but that's much harder to target. Think of the things that are most annoying, either crepiness and fine lines or really annoying stubborn spots. Now this is very clever. Killer is a little box of, how many do you get? You don't get that many, to be honest. You get 8 little on-the-spot micro needling patches. You open them up and what comes in is that. And what's inside is a tiny little gel patch with micro needles in it. And what's in those micro needles? So the first step is you get a wipe to obviously cleanse the area before you then put on the patch. And in the wipe is alcohol, obviously, because it's a swab, but you've got things like salicylic acid and tea tree oil. So that's basically an antibacterial wipe. Then you stick on the patch, and what is in the patch is salicylic acid. Salicylic acid, my favourite BHA, so that's my beta hydroxy acid. It's lipophilic. It delivers the salicylic acid through the stratum corneum, through the top layers of the epidermis to where it needs to be delivered, i.e. in the hair follicle, in the spot. It's very clever. So instead of having to wait for salicylic acid to maybe slowly exfoliate the top layers of skin away, you're automatically targeting it. Now, I'll be really honest with you. I'm going to give these to Jo Jones to try. I very rarely get spots unless I'm going to stick them on my bottom. And we've talked about this before in previous videos. I want her to try them. I want her to tell me if they work. We're going to split it because obviously occasionally you do get a really bad honker of a zit. And I would suggest you keep these on hand. Now, they are hitting the stores imminently and I'm very excited about them. I think it's very clever technology. At the same time, obviously, another company is launching 2 sets and they're launching a mixture of both. I want to introduce you to Vice Reversa. Vice Reversa is going to be available at Victoria Health. Jill is very clever. She scans the world looking for new and exciting skincare products. And there are 2 forms of Vice Reversa. There is Vice Reversa microneedling plumping patches, and they're obviously under eyes, lips, mouth, anywhere you want it. And then there are Vice Reversa microneedling pimple patches, aka zit zappers, aka blemish blasters. I'm reading it on the packet down here. Now let me tell you about them. The reason these are exciting is because, one, we're beginning to come down in price here, which makes them more affordable to everybody. And you know what I think about affordable skincare. So the plumping patches are $34.95 for 8 pairs. So definitely coming down in price. Active ingredients are hyaluronic acid. They say they're delivering collagen. Collagen's a big molecule, but it's also delivering peptides, and that's what counts because it's the peptides that's going to boost the collagen. So what happens is you have the box, you open it up, inside are 4 sachets, and in each sachet you get generic sort of gherkin shaped microneedling patches. And these are the ones that are delivering the hyaluronic acid, the peptides, collagen, even if it's micronized. Anyway, and you can stick them anywhere you want. You can stick them under the eye, you can stick them in the nasolabial lines, you can stick them around your lips. Unscented, loaded with active ingredients. It makes complete sense why you would want to use these before a special night out. And I recommend that you sleep in them. Again, 0.3 millimeters long, which seems to be the standard depth for this sort of technology. And then the zit stickers, you get 8 of them. They're larger than the killer ones. There's the killer one. My stomach rumbling. There's the zit stickers. They do work out roughly the same price for the zit ones. So the zit ones are $19.95 for 8 patches. It's 20 quid per 8 spots. This isn't for somebody that has a lot of spots. This is for somebody who gets that occasional, oh my God, that hurts so much. Or before a big night out and you want to stick something on overnight, or even you can stick these on actually and cover them in a little bit of makeup during the day. It's not going to look great, but you know, if you're really going to attack a spot and you want it to go down quickly, these things do work. The zit ones, by the way, contain a combination of hyaluronic acid and salicylic acid, which is good because the salicylic acid will obviously target the oil, it's anti-inflammatory, but the hyaluronic acid will hydrate, and sometimes you can get a little bit dry and crispy when you've got spots as well. So there you go. A revolution is occurring. All we need is for somebody like L'Oreal or Revolution or Inky List or The Ordinary to politely be inspired by this technology to make it truly available on the high street. Are you listening, Inky, Ordinary, Revolution? Come on, you know you can do it. Right, the other thing that's happening is finally there's the democratization of dry skin masks. Let's do a quick recap of the history of dry skin masks. It all started with Nanette de Gaspé. Nanette de Gaspé launched these probably about 4 years ago. You know what they look like, they're printed technology. However, she cannot take the full credit for these. Nanette de Gaspé was approached by an incredibly clever woman called Corinne Thurberg, who owns a company called Biomed. It really annoys me when brand owners take credit for the technology that was created by an amazingly brilliant scientist. Corinne Thurberg, we love you. She has a company called Biomed. She partnered with Nanette de Gaspé. She created the first range of printable technology dry sheet masks. Why is a dry sheet mask interesting? One, because it's not sloppy and it's not wet and you can sleep in it and your sheets won't get wet and you can travel around in it, as Trini does in her taxi on the way or at the back of a bike on the way to work. I use them on flights. They're expensive. I think they're, even now, the process is being democratized and it's becoming cheaper and available on the high street. Let's be honest here, they're still expensive. I use them on flights, that's how I use them. The warmth of the skin encourages the printed dry oil technology to be released into your skin. And what you end up with is a feeling of dry oil afterwards. You do. Some people use rollers with them, but honestly, on an 8-hour flight, you'll look like Hannibal Lecter, but who cares? They were first available at Nanette de Gaspé. Then what happened was Charlotte Tilbury, the queen of wonderful high maintenance travel around the world looking fabulosity, approached Biomed and said, right, I want you to create it for me. She created it, so it came down from 85 to 95 pounds per mask. Yes, you can use them 3 times, but really? To Charlotte Tilbury brought them available on the market. I think you can get these round about now for about £20. Anyway, they come in a box. You can use them. I'll put the price down below of how, in fact, I'll put the price up here now, of how you get them and how you use them, all that sort of stuff. Then, Nanette obviously realised that she was being undercut by Charlotte Tilbury. God, honestly, I'm so painfully honest. And she launched Mr. Gaspé. And Mr. Gaspé is a line of diffusion masks coming in at £30. See, we're getting a little bit more reasonably priced. I don't think anything can lift. I'm not really sure a mask can brighten. To lift, brighten, firm, beyond plump, really, honestly, or hydrate, things have got to be used long term. Serums have to be used for months before you see results. Masks are not really going to long-term brighten, lift or firm, but they will plump and they will hydrate and they will stop dehydration at 30,000 feet. So there you go. Then what happened was Swiss Clinic. What I suspect happened was Nanette de Gaspé lost her exclusive with Biomed and Swiss Clinic came along. Now Swiss Clinic is still an expensive brand, but they had their Swiss Clinic face perfecting dry mask wearable technology, skin radiance in 15 minutes. Radiance in 15 minutes? Superficial brightening? Radiance, I'm not so sure. Anyway. But as I said it was going to happen, I knew it was going to happen. Now you've got No 2O, which is a play on no water. H2O. No water masks. Finally available on the high street, and I love this because they're brought to you by Aqua Advanced Skincare, even though they don't have any water in them, and they are incredibly clever, much more affordable, water-free protecting dry sheet mask, firming mask, detoxing mask. They've got a range. They're called by a company called No 2O, a play on H2O. And again, they can be reused. Let me get one out and show you. I mean, detoxing sheet masks. I'm not happy with the word detoxing. I'm really not in any format. You'll not be surprised to see, bearing in mind, I think Biomed own the technology for all of this. This is what they look like when they come out. They all have sealed packaging. I tell you what you will find. I mean, Nanette obviously has very chic ribbons that ties hers in place. Charlotte has the very clever over ear and then under the chin and over the ear. They get very slightly smaller and very slightly tighter the cheaper they are. So here we go. Here's a prime example. The printed technology goes against your face. And then once you get to this level where they're cheaper, God, I've got such a big face. I really have. You end up with a technology like this, where you have to sort of stretch it into place. Nothing going under the neck. So obviously they are cutting corners to still make a profit, but I would happily fly at 30,000 feet looking like this. And let's be honest here, nothing is really going to firm under your neck anyway, apart from radio frequency, which I'm currently testing. So there you go. That is my take on interesting new, watch this space, face masks. I'm not a fan of the wet ones. I think, yes, they plump your skin. I think, yes, they're Instagram friendly, but really, I think all skincare needs to be left on the skin to really work. It just does. It's why I would rather use a serum overnight than a mask. It's why I'd rather use an acid overnight than a 15-minute mask, although some are quite nice if you're in a hurry. I get that. I get it's fun to pamper your skin, but if you're looking for long-term results, you need to leave the product on your face. However, microneedling patches are doing something that skincare can't. Dry masks are doing something that wet masks can't, and they're easier to use on a flight because nobody wants to sleep in a wet mask. They also, and I've done it, dehydrate. So you end up pulling them off and they're like, taking off layers of skin with them. These don't dehydrate. And I like the fact, I like the fact that technology trickles down, because I believe that every single one of us on every single budget deserves the best skincare. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you've just tuned in, I apologise to young children and small animals. They're actually very comfortable, these ones. Look at my ears. Look, I've got such a huge face. That's the problem. One size does not fit all. Look, I'm trying to get that over my ear. Look, it's not going to stay there now, look, because I've bent it back. My ears are sort of sticking out at the side, look. I mean, I guess it would stretch over time if you slept in it, look like this. The Charlotte Tilbury one does actually work for me, and it goes under my neck. The Nanette de Gaspé one has a ribbon, which obviously means you can size it to your face. But we're talking about £85 as opposed to £20. Also, technically they can be reused, although obviously you do not use them with makeup. You can feel it. You end up with this almost dry oil silicone feel to your skin, which I can't quite like. People do apply them over makeup and refresh makeup with them. They make the back of my ears itch. But only because I got such a massive, great big face. I really do have such a huge face. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I'm also going to do a video on new and exciting skincare. And on Friday, that's tomorrow, I'm filming with Jo Jones, and we're going to do an Ask Me Anything, and we're going to do a whole host of the beauty hacks, because we know you enjoy them. I'll put all the details of all the products down below with all the prices. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Bye.